going to put them this. Okay. We are in chapter 16. Chapter 16. We started yesterday 54. By now should be a little more. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanam Janam Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Urave Namah. Puja Sri Guru Bharga Vandita Mahavavambita Yasala Purva Parya Parampara Prachalita Praja Pramurta Krita Bhakter Nirmala Nirjarasya Nivritam Samrakshakam Sadaram Bande Sri Gurudeva Manata Siracharya Bharyam Niyam Guru Bhavista Supurakam Guru Ganaira Sisya Sambhusitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Sri Rupa Pantanugam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Baram Tanum Bhaktyam Vitam Sundaram Bande Vishwa Gurun Chatipya Bhagavat Premno Vibija Pradam Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadanjaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuisei Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Entonces, estábamos viendo, escuchando we were hearing the narration of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami about the meeting of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and whom? Keshava Kashmir. That Pandit, very big Pandit. Really, he was like very famous, very famous Pandit. And when he arrived in Navadvip, the first person he met was Nimai Pandita. So he discussed with him, and we read yesterday about how the Lord explained to him that, yes, I hear your 100 verse composition glorifying the Ganges, our mother Ganges. But can you repeat one of the, if you see, we will see some of the verses. Then Mahaprabhu quoted one of the verses. And it's very rare that somebody will hear in a very short span of time, half an hour, 1 hour or so, a so lengthy composition, poetry, and that he will remember exactly one of the shlokas who was right on the spot created by the Pandit. So he, starting with that Keshava Kashmir became very surprised. How could you remember, no? So fast, one of the shlokas. But the Lord did. And then he mentioned, we will, if we see scrutinizingly your, with some detail your verse, then we will see that there is 5 embellishments poetical embellishment and 5 faults in your verse. Say, what are you saying? My verse has no fault. But the Lord said, yes, there are. What do you know about poetry? You only teaches beginners grammar. No? And he said, yes, certainly you are a great poet. But what does he said? He said, just as you can be a great poet by the grace of the Lord, no? Also someone by the grace of the Lord can be a good Shruti Dhara, no? Who can remember everything. That was very nice, very simple, but very telling him, you are not great because of your own, no? You are great because you have some blessings from the Lord, from above. So also, someone who has that blessings may have some qualities. And we were saying that that was the answer of Prahlad Maharaj to his father, no? Hiranyakashipu. Where you are getting this power? And the boy told his father, from the same place that you are getting yours, no? From the Lord. And he became very angry. So, outside is a little bit colder, but here inside the temple is very hot, very warm. Then he started, explaining and these 5 embellishments and 5 faults. First of all, he started with the faults, and then he described the embellishments. However, he said, then it doesn't matter how beautiful a poetry can be, but if it has some faults, then the whole verse is useless. And this verse has a very nice, beautiful, ornamental expressions, some embellishments. But because it has these faults, everything is ruined. And he gave the example of a body being stinged by a leprosy. It may be very well ornamental, but the little spot of leprosy, then in a body, then it may make the whole body, the whole person very undesirable, like that. So, and that was, Mahaprabhu quoted that verse from some book, no? Let me see if I can find it. The sage Bharata Muni, an authority on poetic metaphor, has given his opinion in this connection as follows. Then that sloka is quoted. Chapter 16. And then he described the ornaments of the shloka, and there were very nice things. Some of them alliteration. You remember? That we even looked, and Pandita saw in the Kogol what was alliteration. Some repetition of some vowels in the shloka, so to make the sound And then she gave an example. You remember the
sweet bird sang.
Sweet bird sang. Yes, that is an example of alliteration. Very nice. I mean, it is a revelation. It is a revealed. That's what we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, is a revealed truth. But still, we have like some classes on poetry and Sanskrit grammar. So finally he said we stopped at that time when he was explaining about the Ganges, how this Pandita had composed in his sloka, he had given this embellishment that he said in relation to the Ganges of water, he's coming from the lotus of the feet of the Lord. Then generally we find that the water is the origin of the lotus, of the beautiful flower, lotus. But in this case, even though apparently contradictory, it was also very beautiful expression, poetical expression, to say that the Ganges is coming out from the lotus. So now the water is coming out from the lotus, feet of the Lord, in that case. So we stop there. The existence of Mother Ganges begins from the lotus feet of the Lord, although this statement that waters comes from a lotus flower is a contradiction in connection with the Lord Vishnu. It is a great wonder. Madhuchanda, ¿puedes poner ahí tu Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Sí, Maharaj.
Estamos en el Adi Lila.
Okay.
Adi Lila, capítulo 16, texto número 80. ¿Lo tienes en español?
Sí.
Qué bueno. Texto número 80. Y esto viene a raíz, ayer leíamos el estudio o el análisis que estaba haciendo Nimai Pandita de los versos que había compuesto este gran pandita, Keshava Kashmir. Él había compuesto estos 100 versos en glorificación a la Madre Ganges. Y Mahaprabhu le dijo que bueno, vamos a analizar tu poesía. Y le describió un verso de los 100 que había compuesto en un momento, una media hora, una hora, en fin, muy rápido. Mahaprabhu pudo recordar perfectamente uno de los versos y le dijo, si lo estudiamos vamos a encontrar 5 tipos de faltas y 5 tipos de ornamentos. Entonces comenzó a explicar cuáles eran las faltas y cuáles eran los ornamentos. Y dijo que a pesar de que la poesía sea muy bella y haya muy bellos ornamentos literarios, si tiene una falta, ¿verdad?, se echa a perder todo el verso. Y él explicó, citó un texto de Bharata Muni en el que decía, un cuerpo por más bello que sea y que esté decorado con muchos ornamentos, si tiene, aunque sea una pequeña pizca de lepra, en el cuerpo, entonces todo se vuelve un caos, ya no parece más hermoso, solamente por esa. Entonces eso es lo que decía. Y por último comenzó a analizar las 5 clases de los 5 ornamentos literarios que había en el verso. Y mencionó algunos se llama aliteración, y ayer buscamos en el Google qué significaba, en el diccionario qué significaba aliteración. Entonces vienen unos ejemplos para entender. Pero cuando llegamos a la última, o una de las últimas cosas donde nos quedamos exactamente fue, el señor Nimai Pandita estaba diciéndole al Pandita, Keshava Kashmir, que en ese verso podía encontrar el verso o el ornamento no sé cómo era el ornamento, pero mencionaba que por lo general, dice tú, en el verso el pandita había descrito que el Ganges venía del loto, pero en realidad generalmente nosotros vemos como el agua es el origen del loto. El loto nace en el agua, ¿no? Pero él, haciendo un poquito de contradicción, pero correcta, había dicho que el Ganges nace del loto, de los pies del loto del Señor, ¿no? El loto que son los pies del Señor. Entonces ese era un ornamento, ¿verdad? Muy, muy bello. Dice en el texto 80, ¿no? Por lo tanto, the existence of Mother Ganges begins from the lotus feet of the Lord. Although this statement that waters comes from the lotus flower is a contradiction, in connection with Lord Vishnu, it is a great wonder. In this birth of the Ganges by the inconceivable potency of the Lord, there is no contradiction, although it appears contradictory. In this birth. Text 81, text 82. Everyone knows that lotus flowers grows in the water, but water never grows from a lotus. All such contradictions, however, are wonderfully possible in Krishna. The great river Ganges has grown from his lotus feet. The real glory of Mother Ganges is that she has grown from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. 83. Such a hypothesis thesis is another ornament called Anumana. No? Text 84. I have simply discussed these 5 gross faults and 5 literary embellishments of this verse. But if we consider it in fine detail, we will find unlimited faults. That was not very, very good for the Mahapandita. 84. Now, 85. You have achieved poetic imagination and ingenuity by the grace of your worshipable demigod. But poetry, not well reviewed, is certainly subject to criticism. No doubt you have received so much glory. Jai Saparikara Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Gopinath Giridhari Ji Ki Jai. Cuando estamos allá en Italia, when we were there in Italy, Narada Maharaj mentioned that because we were in Italy, he said, Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Bambino Gopinath. Bambino Gopinath. Then you see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is gracing, giving his grace to, as we are going to see a few more texts, a few more verses ahead, but how he's giving his mercy to this poet. Says, you have achieved poetic imagination and ingenuity by the grace of your worshipable demigod. Means Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati. Due to her grace, you have achieved all these nice qualities. He did not say, oh, you are very, very good, but he mentions to him, he reminds him. But poetry, not well reviewed, is certainly subject to criticism. Text 86, 86. Poetic skill used with due consideration is very pure, and with metaphors and analogies it is dazzling. Dazzling? Dazzling. After hearing, next sloka, after hearing the explanations of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the champion poet was struck with wonder, his cleverness stunned. He could not say anything. He became very perplexed, very stunned to see how everything had happened by a young personality like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandita. He wanted to say something, but no reply would come from his mouth. He then began to consider this puzzle within his mind. Next sloka. This mere boy has blocked my intelligence. I can therefore understand that Mother Saraswati has become angry with me. The wonderful explanations the boy has given could not have been possible for a human being. Therefore, Mother Saraswati must have spoken personally through his mouth. Thinking this, the Pandit said, "My dear Nimai Pandita, please hear me. Hearing your explanations, I am simply struck with wonder." 92. I am surprised you are not a literary student and do not have long experience in studying the Shastras. How have you been able to explain all these critical points? Next sloka. Hearing this and understanding the Pandita's heart, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied in a humorous way, "My dear sir, I do not know what is good composition and what is bad, but whatever I have spoken must be understood to have been spoken by Mother Saraswati." Now then, he support the thinking of the Pandit this way, because he was already thinking, Mother Saraswati may have been angry with me, not satisfied with me, and she must have spoken straight to through this young Nimai Pandita. And that's what Nimai Pandita said. "My dear sir, I do not know what is good composition and what is bad, but whatever I have spoken must be understood to have been spoken by Mother Saraswati." When he heard this judgment from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Pandita sorrowfully wondered why Mother Saraswati wanted to defeat him through a small boy. "I shall offer prayers and meditation to the goddess of learning," the champion concluded, "and ask her why she has insulted me so greatly through this boy." Saraswati had, in fact, induced the champion to compose his verse in an impure way. Furthermore, when it was discussed, she covered his intelligence, and thus the Lord's intelligence was triumphant. When the poetic champion was thus defeated, all the Lord's disciples sitting there began to laugh loudly. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them not to do so, and he addressed the poet as follows. Nimai Pandita told the poet, "You are the most learned scholar and the topmost of all great poets. For otherwise, how could such fine poetry come from your mouth?" Huh? He gives some relief to the poet, because he really was feeling like completely lost and not confused, not knowing what was happening. Now, he could understand that Goddess Saraswati was not happy with him. But then Mahaprabhu told that. You are the most learned scholar and the topmost of all great poets, for otherwise, how could such fine poetry come from your mouth? Your poetic skill is like the constant flow of the waters of the Ganges. I find no one in the world who can compete with you. Oh, that was a relief for him. Very kind of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no? He was removing from him his ego, his ignorance, and giving him his blessings. Even in the poetic compositions of such great poets as Baba Bhuti, Jayadev, and Kalidas, there are many examples of faults. Such mistakes should be considered negligible. One should see only how such poets have displayed their poetic power. I am not even fit to be your disciple. Therefore, kindly do not take seriously whatever childish impudence I have shown. That's very nice. I am not even fit to be your disciple. Therefore, kindly do not take seriously whatever childish impudence I have shown. The disciples of Nimai Pandita were all like childs, but he was dealing with his devotee, with his this Keshava Kashmir, and he was expressing this very, very beautifully. Whatever, he said, therefore kindly do not take seriously whatever childish impudence I have shown. Please go back home, and tomorrow we may meet again, so that I may hear discourses on the Shastras from your mouth. Muy bien, In this way, both the poet and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back to their homes, and at night the poet worshipped Mother Saraswati. In a dream, the goddess informed him of the Lord's position, and the poetic champion could understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. The next morning, the poet came to Lord Chaitanya and surrendered unto his lotus feet. The Lord bestowed His mercy upon him and cut off all his bondage to material attachment. The poetic champion was certainly most fortunate. His life was successful by dint of his vast learning and erudite scholarship, and thus he attained the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 108. Now 109. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has described all these incidents elaborately. I have only presented the specific incidents he has not described. Many times Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is referring to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, with so much proper respect, and mentioning that he is the Vyasa of Krishna Lila. Many times in his book Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he will mention that I am only describing those pastimes who were left not mentioned by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, because he has already described so many of the pastimes of the Lord. And those who he has not mentioned, then those pastimes, I'm going to express it here in the book. I'm going to mention them here in the book. And that in that way I will not make so very voluminous book, and also I will give proper respect to Vrindavan Das Thakur. And Vrindavan Das Thakur in his book, even though he was not aware still of the book of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he also mentioned that in the future, very near future, some Vyasadev, a form of Vyasadev will come and will write about Gauranga's Mahaprabhu's pastime. Therefore, both of them, they are one of the main sources we have to understand the life and the precepts of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Srila Govinda Maharaj very beautifully has worshipped them or adored them both through his poetry. This sloka composed by Srila Govinda Maharaj is very beautiful. That Dasa Brindavanam Bande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Chanavatara Chaitanya Lila Vistara Karino Duho Nityananda Padabjo Karuna Renu Pushito Vyakto Chano Budachinto Bhavande Vyasa Rupino. And in that sloka he's saying, I offer my obeisances to Srila Govinda Maharaj. He's saying, I offer my obeisances to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur and Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. They are the expositors of the pastimes of the Chanavatar, of the incarnation of the Lord, hidden incarnation of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya. And they are adorned, ornamented with the pollen-like dust of the divine feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. I offer my obeisances to these two forms of Vyasadeva, one which is hidden and the other which is una que es oculto y el otro que es manifest. One who is hidden and the other one who is manifest. One who is intelligible, and another one which is inconceivable. Inconceivable. He was very happy with that poem he wrote, to worship them and to present, really what is the position of them both. Very nice. We learn that sloka because every day when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we say that sloka of Srila Govinda Maharaj. And we can see, first of all, how Nityananda Prabhu graced them both First of all, we see that Vrindavan Das Thakur is his disciple. No? Was very close. In the words of Srila Govinda Maharaj, his work on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, could easily be entitled Sri Nityananda Bhagavata. So much partial he is to Nityananda Prabhu that easily it can be named like that, Sri Nityananda Bhagavata. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also mentions how he was graced personally by Lord Chaitanya, by Lord Nityananda. In the first part of his book, in Adi Lila, in that chapter where he is mentioning the grace of the authorities and the Lord himself, or a little before, but he is mentioning, and he is saying, I should not say this, because it is a very intimate thing. But I consider that if I do not mention, then naturally I will be committing a fault, an offense, no? Not letting you know where does it comes, all these things. Then he mentioned how Lord Chaitanya, how Nityananda Prabhu, after he have a discussion with his brother gave shelter to one pujari who had not faith in Nityananda Prabhu, but only faith in Mahaprabhu. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did not like that. So one day he discussed and chastised his brother, no? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's brother. He chastised him because why you are giving so much consideration to this fool? No? He has not faith in both of the Lords. And to have faith in one and not faith in the other one is like the philosophy, or is like the example of half chicken. No? There is one example where it says that you cannot have only the chicken, the part of the chicken who gives the eggs, no? And then cut the chicken in two, and the part of the chicken which is demanding some food, and you are going to cut that. Then he said, that acceptance of one Lord and not the other one is like that philosophy of half chicken. Wrong. Anyhow, that night, after that discussion and chastisement he did to his brother, that night he got a dream, and in a dream, Lord Nityananda Prabhu appeared to him, very beautiful. He describes the Lord very beautifully, no? Like being like intoxicated by pure love to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Nityananda told him that he was very pleased with him, and he immediately said, you should go immediately to Vrindavan and live there. There you will find everything. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did. No? As soon as he woke up and was conscious of that dream and instruction for Lord Nityananda, he followed him, and he went to to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, he found everything. The association of his devotees, of the devotees, the shelter of Raghunath Das Goswami, the association also of Jiva Goswami, the deities who bless him, and many exalted devotees who bless him and who request from him to write about the later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then both of them received the grace of Lord Nityananda. That's why Srila Govinda Maharaj is saying that they are adorned, decorated no, beautifully decorated with the pollen-like dust of the sacred feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. The mercy, pollen-like dust of the mercy of Lord Nityananda's feet. Because one of them, Krishna, Vrindavan Das Thakur, was follower, disciple, and got so much the grace and association of Lord Nityananda. He was the one who told, you should write about Lord, the life of Lord, of our Lord. And Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he received that grace from in a dream, after a dream. Well, we are getting late. We stop here. Huh? Very nice sloka of Srila Govinda Maharaj. This is kind of poetry that there is do not exist. And so many times we are seeing in the books Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami referring to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur as Vyasa avatar. And Krishna Vrindavan Das Thakur explaining that in the future Vyasadeva will write about the. Then Srila Govinda Maharaj put them together in this beautiful poetry and glorify them both as Vyasavatar. I offer my obeisance to these two forms of Vyasadeva. One which is hidden and the other which is manifest. One who is intelligible and the other one which is inconceivable. There is some, one would like to do some questions. And also very, about Chaitanya Charitamrita, so, what to say. It is therefore one of the preferred books of our guardians, of the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Well, we chant. Sachi would like to chant.
Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jatavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopa Govindaram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudan.
Sri Dari Gopinath
Dari Gopinath
Namaha.
Srila Ashram Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnu Papa Mahamsa Parikaraja Kacharya Vanyosta Sapasi Srimasuya Srila Bhakti Sundara Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Papa Mahamsa Parikaraja Kacharya Vanyosta Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Jai Sapari Karasi Sri Guru Gauranga Sundar Sri Radha Govinda Giridhari ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Papa Mahamsa Srila Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Papa Mahamsa Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Papa Mahamsa Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Papa Mahamsa Srila Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannath Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Jainam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinata Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Jai Sri Sri Balabhadra Subhadra Jagannath Ji ki Jai El Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhya Sri Navadvitam ki Jai Toda la gloria, todos los centros y comunidades alrededor del mundo, en la India y en Inglaterra, aquí, ya. El Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat de Londres, aquí, ya. Su divina gracia Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, aquí, ya. Srila Bhakti Pavanjanarana Maharaj, ki jai. Srila Bhakti Tilak Nirina Maharaj, ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Bhattacharya Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Sri Gauda Mandal Sri Radha Mandal Sri Chetra Mandal ki Jai Sri Gandamai Jamnamai ki Jai Sri Mati Tulasi Maharani ki Jai Sri Bhakti Devi ki Jai Bhakta Pravara Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai Vigna Sana Sri Nrisingha Dev ki Jai Sri Lakshmi Nrisingha Dev ki Jai Sri Samavrita Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Toda la gloria a los devotos reunidos ki Jai Toda la gloria a todos los devotos del mundo ki Jai Sri Harinam, all glories to the assembled devotees ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Today we have some special day.
I don't think so, I don't think. Tomorrow is Ramanatami.
Huh?
Tomorrow is Ramanatami.
Rama
Navami.
Navami. Okay. Rama. Repeat it. Ramachandra. Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Srila Bhakti Kusama Ashram Maharaj ki Jai. We don't have to